Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we aren't just talking about a game. We're really talking about human nature here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're talking about that incredibly difficult psychological pivot from wanting something to protecting something.
Right. It's the classic shift from the hunter to the hunted.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it is the most dangerous shift in sports psychology.
Exactly. We are stepping onto the court today to break down the BALL premiere. That's the Basketball Association Legacy League. And we're looking at it as it moves into its second season.
Which is always the most telling season.
Oh, for sure. And before you tune out thinking, oh, it's just a basketball preview, just hold on. Because the storylines here, the narratives, they're basically Shakespearean.
They really are.
You've got a king trying to hold the throne. You have usurper gathering this army of giants. You have a literal super team experiment. And you have a band of rebels trying to win with just speed and chaos.
It really is a perfect microcosm of organizational psychology. I was looking through the league notes earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The roster updates and the reports from the preseason. And the thing that struck me is the tension.
The tension is palpable.
Yeah, because the first season of any league is like a honeymoon.
Right.
Everyone is just happy to be there. There's this sense of discovery. But season 2, the honeymoon is over. The divorce papers are on the table.
And gloves are totally off.
Exactly. The patterns have emerged now. The targets are painted squarely on backs. And we have this fascinating dynamic where the league is effectively split into different philosophical camps on how to win.
It's no longer just about who has the best jump shot.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It is about who has the best philosophy, who has the right blueprint.
And the final preseason game really served as a warning shot for all of this, right?
A massive warning shot. It told everyone that the transition to the regular season is going to be brutal.
So today we are going to act as your scouts. We have analyzed the 8 competitive teams. We've looked at those warning shots fired in the preseason. And we are going to tell you not just who is playing, but what they represent.
And I think we need to start at the very top.
The throne.
The defending champions, the team that stands alone at the summit right now.
Right, so last year they were known as College.
Which is a great name.
It was. They took down the Raptors. They hoisted the trophy. They were the darlings of the league. They had this youthful energy about them.
They're fun to watch.
Very fun. And then in the off-season, they did something that I find psychologically baffling. They rebranded.
It's a bold move. I mean, usually you don't mess with a winning formula.
You really don't, but they did. They are now, and I love this, they are now BBQ Chicken.
It's fantastic. It
Right.
really is the best name.
Okay, but we have to pause here. For the listener who maybe watches the playoffs on TV but doesn't live on the asphalt, we need to unpack this term.
Yeah, it's not just about a cookout.
No, because BBQ chicken isn't just food. In basketball culture, this is a very specific, very loaded term.
Right. It's a term popularized by Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq, the big diesel.
Exactly. When you're on the court and you call someone BBQ chicken, you are essentially saying you are food.
You are on the menu.
Right. You are saying I can score on you whenever I want. You cannot stop me. You are tender meat on the grill.
It implies a massive mismatch.
A total mismatch.
It implies that the defender is helpless, it's disrespectful in the best possible way.
It is. But here is the nuance with this team. Usually you say that to your opponent as an insult. You point at a guy and yell BBQ chicken.
Right? You talk trash.
Exactly. It is rare, extremely rare for a team to adopt it as their own name. It's almost paradoxical.
It's like a boxer entering the ring and calling himself the knockout artist.
Yeah, you better deliver or you look ridiculous.
So is this irony? Is it supreme confidence? Or is it a trap?
I think it's a calculated statement of dominance. Think about their old name. Think about college. What does college imply?
Learning?
Mm-hmm.
Growth? Maybe a little bit of youthful inexperience?
Right.
You're there to get an education, you make mistakes, but that's part of the curriculum.
Precisely. College is the journey. BBQ chicken is the destination. It implies consumption. It implies a finished product. They are telling the league, we are done learning. Now we are feasting.
And this is but that mentality is incredibly dangerous.
That was a disease of more.
The disease of more. Exactly.
Yeah.
Pat Riley's famous concept regarding championship teams.
It ruins dynasties.
It does. When a team wins a championship, suddenly everyone wants more. More shots, more credit, more fame.
More playing time.
Exactly. And on top of that, you lose the hunger. The source material for this deep dive had a great line about them. It said, no longer proving themselves, they are defending something.
That is a massive psychological shift.
It really is. When you're proving yourself, you play with a certain reckless abandon. You have nothing to lose.
Right. If you lose, hey, you were the underdog anyway.
Exactly. But when you are defending,
It's totally different.
every possession feels heavy. Every mistake feels like a catastrophe.
And the league guide describes them as poised, experienced, and battle-tested.
Which they are.
They absolutely are. They
Yeah.
have the discipline. We saw that when they dethroned the Raptors last year. They played mistake-free basketball.
Almost surgical.
But the question for Season 2 is, can you wake up at 5 a.m. to run sprints when you're sleeping in silk sheets?
That is the million-dollar question. Complacency is the silent killer. It creeps in. You step a little slower on defense. You don't dive for that loose ball because, hey, we're the champs.
We'll just get the next one.
Right, we'll turn it on in the fourth quarter.
And it's not just internal issues either. It's external.
Because everyone is coming for you.
The rest of the league has spent the entire offseason building rosters specifically to beat them. They have watched the tape.
Hours of it.
They know BBQ Chicken's plays. They know their tendencies. They know which way their point guard likes to drive. The element of surprise is completely gone.
Which brings us perfectly to the team that arguably has the biggest obsession with taking them down, the team they beat.
The Raptors.
The revenge tour.
This is classic sports storytelling.
It really is. The Fallen Kings. Now, usually when a team loses in the finals, they just want it back. They say we were one possession away. Let's just tighten up the script.
That just fix a few minor things.
Right. But the Raptors didn't do that.
No, they looked in the mirror and decided they were too small.
They engaged in a literal arms race.
They realized that to beat the discipline and execution of BBQ Chicken, they couldn't just out-execute them. They needed to overwhelm them.
They needed to physically punish them on the court.
They went big. Like, legitimately big.
They went massive. They fundamentally changed the silhouette of their team. We're talking about the additions of MJ Miller, who is listed at 6'6".
And Jim Panalaki at 6'3".
Right. Now, for you listening in the NBA, 6'6" is a standard wing. But in a league like the BALL Premier, or really any semi-pro or recreational league, a legitimate 6'6" player is a cheat code.
It totally changes the geometry of the court. We talk about length a lot in basketball analysis, but let's actually explain what that does in practice.
Yeah, break that down.
When you have a 6'6" wingspan on the perimeter, the passing lanes literally shrink. A pass that used to be wide open is now getting tipped.
A shot that used to be a clean look is now heavily contested.
Exactly. It makes the rim look smaller to the offense.
It creates a sort of psychological claustrophobia for the other team. You feel like there's just nowhere to go with the ball.
You feel like there is no space to breathe. The Raptors aren't just trying to outscore people anymore. They're trying to suffocate them.
They want to switch everything on defense and just wall off the paint.
They want to make BBQ Chicken feel small.
But there was a cost to this overhaul, right? You can't just bring in huge new pieces without losing something in the process.
That's always the trade-off.
The sources mention they lost Brian Gonzalez, and the notes specifically point out that this created a massive leadership vacuum.
This is the hidden variable that fans often miss. You can add all the height and talent in the world, but if you lose the voice in the locker room,
The guy who holds people accountable.
right? The guy who yells when things go wrong.
Yeah.
If you lose him, the height doesn't matter. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does a basketball team.
And Brian Gonzalez was that voice for them.
He was the anchor.
Now we're seeing Joseph Barizo step up into that role.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a transition. It doesn't happen overnight.
No, it takes time to earn that specific kind of respect.
And that's the crucial subplot for the Raptors. Joseph Barizo has to be the glue, because when you bring in new talented guys like Miller, there is an immediate pecking order issue.
Oh, absolutely. Who takes the last shot?
Who speaks up in the timeout when you're down by 10?
If Barizo can't command that respect, the Raptors might just be a collection of tall talent rather than an actual cohesive team.
That's the huge risk of the revenge tour. You get so hyper-focused on the enemy that you forget to build your own house.
But if it clicks,
Oh, man, if it clicks, they are terrifying.
if it clicks, they are an absolute bulldozer.
So we have the disciplined champions in BBQ Chicken and the physical juggernauts in the Raptors. But then we have the Hollywood storyline.
Here we go.
The team that decided to blow up the model entirely. We have to talk about ECH.
Formerly known as Mamba.
Right. They rebranded to ECH, and they didn't just change the logo on the jersey. They went out and got a superstar. We need to talk about Carl Bryan Cruz.
This is the headline acquisition of the offseason. This is the breaking news banner running across the bottom of the screen on every sports network.
This source material references his sporting life, and it is extensive. We aren't talking about a guy who played some good high school ball here.
No, not at all.
We are talking about a player with a legitimate high-level pedigree.
When you look at a player like Carl Bryan Cruz entering this specific ecosystem, you have to talk about gravity.
Okay, let's define that for the listener. We hear gravity used with Steph Curry a lot in the pros. What does it actually mean in this context?
Right, so gravity is the magnetic pull a great player has on the opposing defense. Because Cruz is so dangerous, presumably as a scorer and a playmaker, the defense must pay attention to him at all times.
Even when he doesn't have the ball.
Exactly. Even when he's just standing in the corner, two defenders are looking at him. They are physically leaning toward him.
They are terrified of him getting the ball.
He warps the defense. He bends the floor to his will.
And that creates vast amounts of open space for his teammates.
It makes everyone else's job so much easier. You don't have to be a great creator if you're playing with Cruz. You just have to catch the ball and shoot because you are going to be wide open.
Because the defense is scrambling to cover the star.
Precisely.
But here is the skepticism, and I think we need to address it. We have seen super teams fail time and time again.
So many times.
Look at the Brooklyn Nets a few years ago with KD, Kyrie, and Harden. Look at the Lakers way back with Nash and Dwight Howard.
Oh, that was a disaster.
It really was. Talent accumulation is not the same thing as team building. Just putting the best ratings on the floor doesn't guarantee a single win.
That is the thesis statement for ECH's entire season.
Yeah.
They added Cruz. They added Mark Nazarino. They added Jason Chrysostomo. On paper.
On paper, they look insane.
They're a video game team. They look invincible. But basketball isn't played on paper.
No, it's played in real time under immense pressure.
It's the instant chemistry dilemma.
Nico Arias is the leader there. And honestly, I think he has the hardest job in the league right now.
Without a doubt.
He has to integrate a massive superstar into a new system with a completely new team identity immediately.
They don't have a long NBA training camp. They don't have an 82-game season to figure out the rotation and rotations and who plays well together.
They have to click right now, today.
It's the difference between a mercenary army and a homegrown militia. Think about BBQ Chicken. They have played together forever.
Right, they know where their teammates are going to be before they even cut.
They have that nonverbal communication.
Right.
ECH is literally learning each other's names on the fly.
And in a tight game in the fourth quarter when the pressure is really on, teams always revert to their habits.
Always.
If ECH doesn't have shared habits yet, they might just revert to hero ball. Everyone just standing around watching Cruz isolate.
And that is so easy to defend. If 5 guys are standing still watching one guy dribble, the defense wins every time.
So ECH is essentially the high-variance play of Season 2. Their ceiling is completely unbeatable, and their floor is a tragic first-round exit.
Exactly. It's a high-stakes gamble.
Yeah.
They are betting that pure, overwhelming talent overcomes structural chemistry.
And history suggests that is a very 50-50 bet.
At best.
Okay, I want to pivot now to a matchup that I think is even more fascinating than the super team dynamic. We've talked about the top dogs. Now I want to talk about raw philosophy.
I love this part.
Because looking at the league guide, there are 2 teams that are seemingly moving in completely opposite directions, the total clash of civilizations.
Do you want to talk about Hiraya and the Bisons?
I really do. This is my favorite dynamic in the entire league. Let's start with Hiraya.
The dark horse.
The guide calls them the dark horse, but looking at their biometrics, they are tiny.
They are microscopic by basketball standards.
They are arguably the smallest team in the league.
They are. And, you know, in basketball, being small is usually a death sentence. As the old saying goes, you can't teach height.
Right. You can teach shooting, you can teach dribbling.
But you cannot teach being 7 feet tall.
Exactly. But Hiraya is leaning into it. The sources note they have the, quote, biggest heart. Now, that sounds like a total cliche.
It does. It sounds like something a youth coach says when his team is losing every game. Oh, but we have so much heart.
Yeah, it's usually a polite euphemism for we have no talent. Like saying someone has a great personality.
But in this specific context, heart actually translates to something tactical.
It translates to motor.
It translates to cardio.
Yeah.
It translates to blistering speed. It means they never, ever stop moving.
They shocked people in the preseason. I mean, they weren't supposed to be this good.
Not at all. But teams constantly underestimate the physical toll of chasing small, fast guys around for 40 minutes.
Hiraya plays small ball to the extreme. They spread the floor wide. They move the ball rapidly. They rely entirely on chemistry and chaos.
Their leader, Sean Reyes, has completely instilled this identity of speed over size.
It's basically guerrilla warfare on the hardwood.
That is perfectly described.
Mm-hmm.
They know they can't stand in the middle of the ring and trade heavy punches with a team like the Raptors.
They would get knocked out in the first round.
So they don't. They hit and run. They use their speed to totally negate the size advantage. If you are a big lumbering center, playing against Hiraya is an absolute nightmare.
Because you are constantly dragged out of the paint, chasing them around the three-point line.
You are gasping for air by the middle of the second quarter. Your legs feel like lead.
Now contrast that exact style with the Bisons.
The polar opposite in every conceivable way.
The Bisons looked at the league landscape and said, we don't want to run track. We want to bruise people.
They revamped their roster with pure size and grit. They brought in Aaron Mansell and Mac DeJoya.
And the sources describe their identity as physicality, youth, and competitive toughness.
Competitive toughness.
That is such a polite way of saying they are going to foul you really hard.
Yeah, it means they want to make the game as ugly as humanly possible. They want to turn a basketball game into a wrestling match.
If Hiraya wants a track meet, the Bisons want a steel cage match.
They want to pound the ball inside, crash the offensive glass on every shot, and just physically wear you down to the bone.
They want you to feel every single possession in your ribs the next morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just imagine a game between Hiraya and the Bisons.
It's the ultimate style clash. And the real banter point here for us is which style is actually more sustainable over a full season.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Because playing the Hiraya style, that constant motion, that high-speed scrambling defense that is completely exhausting.
You need incredibly deep conditioning to pull that off.
If you get tired even a little bit, the system falls apart because you can't rotate fast enough to cover the open man.
You leave a shooter open and you get punished. But the Bison style has a severe cost, too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Pounding the ball inside, taking physical punishment from double teams that wears you down over a season.
It's the difference between running a marathon and getting into a fist fight every single week.
Both leave you totally exhausted, but one leaves you deeply bruised. One leaves you with nagging shoulder and knee injuries.
And in a tournament setting or even a short season, I really worry about Hiraya on the boards.
The rebounding is the glaring issue.
Right. If they start missing jump shots, can they get the ball back? The Bisons are going to eat them alive on the rebound.
They'll get 3 or 4 chances every trip down the floor. But on the flip side, if the Bisons can't defend the three-point line because they're too slow to close out,
Hiraya literally runs them right off the court.
It's a fascinating tactical battle. It forces every single other team in the league to prepare for 2 completely different sports.
Right. Preparing for Hiraya is all cardio and defensive rotations.
Preparing for the Bisons is weightlifting and ice baths.
This massive diversity of style is what makes the B.A.L.L. premiere so interesting this year. If everyone played the exact same spread pick-and-roll offense, it would just be boring.
It would be repetitive.
But we have one more specific category of teams to talk about. We have the teams that don't fit the super team mold. And they aren't necessarily the dark horse darlings either.
They are the absolute grinders.
The teams that are built to, quote, win ugly.
Ah, yes. Beats by Buffaloes, BBB, and Royale 5150.
Let's start with BBB. Great name, by the way.
Fun name, but a very serious game.
They are led by Evan Bolasé, who formerly played for Royale, actually.
Which is a great storyline right there. Switching allegiances in a tight league.
That always adds a little extra spice to the head-to-head matchups. But the key word for BBB when you look at their profile is stability.
In a league where the Raptors are overhauling their roster and ECH is trying to buy instant chemistry, BBB is the control group.
They are the constant.
They picked up Moises Plantin, a really savvy veteran player.
Yeah.
And they play a strictly controlled tempo.
Okay, what does controlled tempo actually mean for the listener? Why does that matter so much?
It means they refuse to let the other team dictate the pace of the game. If Hiraya tries to run and push the ball, BBB just slows it right down.
They walk the ball up the court.
They use the whole 24-second shot clock. They literally take the air out of the building.
They dictate the terms of engagement.
They're the team that you look up at the scoreboard in the fourth quarter and say, how are we losing by 6 points right now? This game feels so incredibly slow.
They lull you to sleep, and then they just beat you.
Exactly. They have a very high floor. Maybe a lower ceiling than the super teams, but they are incredibly annoying to play against because they simply do not make mistakes.
They force you to make the mistake.
They're the team that just waits for you to blink.
And then we have Royale 51-50.
The ultimate resilience narrative of the season.
They've had a really rough go, according to the sources. The guide mentions early struggles, roster difficulties, chemistry issues.
It sounds like their training camp was an absolute mess.
It sounds like everything that could possibly go wrong did go wrong.
It was chaotic.
Yeah.
But sometimes chaos actually forges a stronger identity.
Right, pressure makes diamonds.
They have Joel San Diego and Michael Miguel leading the charge. And the phrase that really jumped out at me from the league notes is grit travels.
I love that phrase, grit travels.
It is a profound sports truth. Think about it. Your jump shot might not travel. Some arenas have weird lighting or stiff rims.
Or you just have an off night where the basket looks like a tiny thimble.
Right. Your raw talent is fickle.
Ugh.
But grit, defense, pure hustle, diving headfirst for loose balls.
You can pack that in your suitcase and bring it to every single game no matter what.
Royale realizes, okay, we might not have the overwhelming talent of ECH. We might not have the massive size of the Raptors, but we can outwork you every single night.
And that makes them the zombies of the league.
The zombies.
You think they're dead, you're up by 10 points in the third quarter, but they just keep coming. They will not go away.
They claw back into the game, one ugly possession at a time.
The expert insight here is really to never underestimate a team that is comfortable playing in the mud.
That is the real danger. A team like BBQ Chicken or ECH, if things start going wrong, if the play breaks down or the refs are making bad calls, they might panic.
Because they expect absolute perfection.
They expect to dominate beautifully. Royale, they live in disaster. They're completely comfortable when things are going wrong.
They look at a broken play and say, this is just Tuesday for us.
That makes them incredibly dangerous spoilers in the standings.
I wouldn't want to play them in an elimination game. It just sounds painful. It sounds like a game where you wake up sore the next morning, regardless of whether you won or lost.
You have to double tap to make sure they're actually done. You cannot let up on them for a single second.
Okay, we have one final team to break down today. And this one presents a very specific, very modern basketball problem, the Grizzlies.
Ah, the Grizzlies. We have to talk about the heliocentric model here.
Heliocentric,
Yeah.
like the solar system.
Exactly. Copernicus would absolutely love this basketball team. In this model, the sun is Jerome Tittle.
Explain the heliocentric off things for us. We see it in the NBA, right? With guys like Luka Doncic or prime James Harden in Houston. But how does it manifest here in this league?
It means everything, literally every single action revolves around one player. Jerome Tittle brings the ball up the court. He initiates the offense.
He either takes the shot or he makes the final pass.
The other four guys on the court are essentially satellites orbiting him, just waiting for him to create something out of nothing.
It puts tremendous pressure on the defense because Tittle is obviously a massive force. The source material actually calls him the force. He demands constant attention.
But you have to realize it puts even more pressure on him.
Because he has to be perfect.
If he has an off night, the entire team has an off night. If he gets into early foul trouble, the team completely collapses.
If he just gets tired in the fourth quarter from carrying that heavy of a load, the offense stalls out.
They do have support pieces. Decky Trenor is there, and Aaron Sarmiento is listed as a leader.
And they added Ima Amaskere and EJ Dela Cruz in the offseason, but the notes specifically bring up a paint problem.
Right. Do they have enough size inside to actually support Tittle? Because if you are a heliocentric team and your son gets neutralized,
Did the Bisons just beat him up physically all game?
or the Raptors put their new 6'6" wing on him and trap him, what is plan B?
If Tittle can't get into the paint to collapse the defense, where does the offense even come from?
That's the classic ceiling versus floor debate again.
The Grizzlies have an incredibly high ceiling because a genuinely dominant player can win you games totally single-handedly.
We've seen it happen. One guy gets hot, scores 40 points, and it simply doesn't matter what the other team does strategically.
But their floor is scary low.
It's the difference between a table with 4 sturdy legs and a table with one big pedestal in the middle.
Oh, that's good. The pedestal looks cool, but if you knock it over, the whole dinner slides right off onto the floor.
That is a perfect analogy. And looking at the additions, Amaskere and Dela Cruz, they're solid pieces, but do they actually solve that structural reliance on one guy?
That's what we need to see in the regular season. Can the Grizzlies win the non-Tittle minutes?
That is the single most important metric to watch for them. When Tittle sits on the bench for a 2-minute breather, does the score hold steady?
Or do they lose a 5-point lead immediately?
If they can survive those minutes without him, they are a legitimate playoff threat. If they can't,
They're just a one-man show.
And one-man shows rarely win championships in a league this competitive.
So we really have the board set now. It's basically Game of Thrones out here on the court. We have the Kings and BBQ Chicken. We have the Usurpers and the Raptors.
The super team experiment with ECH.
The Speedsters and Hiraya. The Bruisers and the Bisons.
The absolute grinders with BBB and Royale.
And the solo act with the Grizzlies.
It's a perfect storm of narratives. You really couldn't write a better script for Season 2 if you tried. Each team has a distinct identity, a distinct fatal flaw, and a distinct motivation.
As we wrap this up, I want to synthesize all of this for you, the listener. If you are tuning into Season 2 of the BALL premiere, what exactly should you be looking for? Give us the official Watcher's Guide.
Okay, so here is the menu. If you appreciate high IQ, mistake-free basketball, if you like seeing the ball move with purpose and good spacing, you need to watch BBQ Chicken.
It's a masterclass in poise.
Watch how they handle the psychological pressure of being the target every single night.
And if you want highlights, if you want to see someone get dunked on,
If you want explosive plays and sheer star power, you have to watch ECH. Seeing Carl Bryan Cruz operate at this level is going to be an absolute treat.
but also keep an eye on the Raptors for that too, right?
Yeah, their new athleticism is going to produce some crazy highlight reel blocks and massive fast breaks.
And what about for the romantics out there? The people who just love a good underdog story.
Hiraya. Without a doubt, it's Hiraya. There's something deeply infectious about watching a smaller team run circles around absolute giants.
It's the most entertaining style of play when it's clicking.
It's pure kinetic energy. It just makes you want to root for them to pull off the upset.
And finally, for the purists, the people who firmly believe that defense wins championships.
That's BB and Royale. It won't be pretty basketball. It might literally be a rock fight.
But it will be fiercely competitive.
And you will see what pure effort actually looks like. You will see players leaving everything they have on the floor.
This season really does feel like a massive clash of philosophies. It's not just a question of who has the best players anymore.
It's a question of which way of playing basketball is actually superior.
Is it overwhelming size? Is it blinding speed? Is it pure accumulated talent? Or is it a flawless system?
And I think that brings us back to the final thought we need to leave you with today. The core question defining Season 2.
Lay it on us.
In a league like this, which is intense, it's personal, and the stakes are incredibly high, is it ultimately better to be the hunter with absolutely nothing to lose or the hunted with everything to prove?
Man, that is the question. BBQ Chicken has everything to prove right now. They have to prove the first championship wasn't just a fluke.
They have to prove the aggressive rebrand isn't just arrogance.
They carry the heavy weight of the crown.
And the Raptors, ECH, and everyone else, they have nothing to lose.
They can take wild risks. They can try crazy new lineups.
And that freedom makes them incredibly dangerous. A hunter doesn't worry about looking good while doing it. They just worry about securing the catch.
I honestly cannot wait for tip-off. Season 2 is going to be an absolute movie.
Get your popcorn ready.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll see you on the court.